This is insane! Let's talk about it. Before that, this video is brought to you by RGB Swap. If you're looking for a better alternative to eBay with lower fees and better protection, make sure to check out RGB Swap linked in the description below. So just the other day, the well-known leaker Cop87Kimi, who appears to have a very good source inside of Nvidia, made yet another post about the RTX 4090 where he basically doubled down on his previous claims that the RTX 4090 would indeed be over double the amount of performance as the RTX 3090, which is absolutely insane. However, I do know that a lot of us probably have heard of these leaks and rumors in the past of the 4090 being double as fast as the 3090. So why am I talking about this today? Well, actually, I want to go ahead and prove to you guys with some math that yes, indeed, the RTX 4090 could easily be double the amount of performance as the RTX 3090 to kind of disprove some things that I've been seeing online recently, where I've seen a lot of people actually questioning whether or not the 4090 really can get twice as fast as the 3090. And spoiler alert, it absolutely can, and here's how. So taking a look at the RTX 4090, from all the various different leaks and rumors, we do know that it's supposed to have 16,128 shaders, which if we do go ahead and actually compare that to the RTX 3090, which has 10,496 shaders, that's actually a 54% increase over the RTX 3090. Now, in terms of the boost clock, I am expecting the RTX 4090 to have a rated boost of 2.3 gigahertz, which if you go ahead and actually compare that to the RTX 3090 and it's roughly 1.7 gigahertz boost, that's actually a 35% increase. So if we go ahead and we do some quick math here, if the RTX 3090, for example, was getting 100 frames per second in a game, if we go ahead and we times that by 1.54 shaders, that gives us 154 frames per second, and if we times that by 1.35 for the boost clock, that actually would put us at 208 FPS for the RTX 4090. But wait, we're not quite done yet. If we go ahead and we actually throw in, say, a 10% IPC increase, which I am expecting to see the RTX 40 series get at least some sort of an IPC increase, that would actually put us at 229 frames per second on the RTX 4090, or 2.29 times as fast as the RTX 3090, and that is absolutely mind-blowing. And in fact, if we go ahead and we say that in a worst case scenario, the scaling on the shaders is absolutely atrocious and we only get, say, 50% scaling on the shader increase, that would still put us at roughly a 87% increase over the RTX 3090. So it goes to show you that yes, indeed, the RTX 4090 could easily be over 2 times the amount of performance, at least in theory, over the RTX 3090. And even in a worst case scenario, I would expect it to get at least close to 2 times the amount of performance, even in games, when compared to the RTX 3090, unless something goes absolutely terribly wrong. And now let's go ahead and quickly look at the RTX 4090 Ti and do the same thing before I go ahead and show you guys my actual performance estimations when it comes to gaming. So taking a look at the RTX 4090 Ti, according to the leaks and rumors, once again, this thing is supposed to have 18,432 shaders, which if you divide that by the RTX 3090's 10,496, gives you a 76% increase over the RTX 3090. Now, in terms of the boost clock, I'm actually expecting up to 2.5 gigahertz on the RTX 4090 Ti, which would actually be a 47% increase over the 1.7 gigahertz on the RTX 3090. So once again, if the RTX 3090 was getting 100 frames per second at 4K, well, if you go ahead and you times that by 1.76 for the amount of shader increase that you see on the 4090 Ti, that gives you 176 frames per second. Then you times that by 1.47 for the clock speed increase to give you 259 frames per second. And then you times it by a 10% increase to the IPC, and that would actually give you 285 frames per second, or 2.85 times faster in theory on the RTX 4090 Ti when compared to the RTX 3090, which is a mind-blowing increase. And in fact, I think that would be the biggest increase that we have ever seen in any graphics generation ever. But even if we were going to go ahead and say that it gets absolutely awful scaling, once again, it only gets like 50% scaling on the shaders, once again, that would still put us at over 2x, at 2.23 times the amount of performance of the RTX 3090, even with awful scaling. So in order for the RTX 4090 Ti to get less than double the amount of performance of the 3090, it would have to get not only awful scaling in terms of its shader performance, but it would have to scale awful in the clock speed and get basically no IPC increase whatsoever. So honestly, guys, I'm going to go ahead and say that the RTX 4090 Ti is definitely going to be at least double the amount of performance as the RTX 3090. I honestly just don't see how it could be any less than double. I mean, that would be very, very shocking to me if it wasn't the case. So if people do talk to you about, you know, the RTX 4090 or 4090 Ti being like maybe 50% or even less performance over the 3090, you know what, just go ahead and show them this video to show them that if you just do the math, it's pretty obvious that the 4090 and 4090 Ti are going to be absolutely massive uplifts over the RTX 3090, and you don't even really need to do the math to know it. I mean, if you just just take a look at the current node that the RTX 30 series is being developed on. It's being developed on the Samsung 8nm node, which is really just a renamed 10nm node, and they're moving all the way to TSMC 5nm. So it's going to be a multiple node jump for NVIDIA. So as you can imagine, yes, they're going to get a massive clock speed jump as well as a massive transistor increase by going from Samsung 10nm all the way over to TSMC 5nm. And so yeah, you don't even have to do the math. Obviously, that's just going to give them a massive increase. But talking about performance, let's go ahead and quickly take a look at my chart here to just get an idea of what my maybe more conservative estimations are for the performance of the RTX 4090 and 4090 Ti when it comes to gaming, because we all know that a potential theoretical performance versus actual gaming performance doesn't necessarily scale 1-to-1. So first, taking a look at the RTX 4090, this one, in terms of its performance, I am actually expecting it to come in at around at least 85% more performance than the RTX 3090 and possibly even more. Now, in terms of the RTX 4090 Ti, I'm expecting this one to be at least double the amount of performance in games versus the RTX 3090. And then finally, let's go ahead and take a look at the RTX 4080 just real quick as an extra bonus. This one I'm actually expecting to be at least 40% faster than the RTX 3090. So there you have it. There are my estimations based on just some simple math that basically anybody can do at home to show you guys that yes, indeed, the RTX 40 series is going to be the biggest jump NVIDIA's made possibly ever in terms of performance. Now, the actual wattage of these cards is also going up as well, so you might need a new power supply, but either way you slice it, yes, the 40 series is looking absolutely insane. But hey, that's just what I think. How fast do you think the RTX 4090 and 4090 Ti are really going to be? Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below, and of course, I'll see you in the next video. If you made it to the end of the video, be sure to drop a like. Every time you do so, AMD and NVIDIA get more stock. Also, if you want to see more, click here. You won't be disappointed.